Good morning everyone, it's Melanie. I have a very dodgy filming setup here. What I'm attempting to do today is just walk you through all the finished blocks that I've made for my Gosling quilt. I've made this slightly bigger than the basic throw size. I'm not really sure how big this is going to be, but I've made 18 of these blocks, and the basic pattern I think only wants 10, but I had so much fun making them that I just kept going. So I think the finished size is possibly going to lay over my queen size bed, but once I put it together, maybe I'll come back and show you the finished product. Here we go. Block number 1. I can't remember what you may have seen before. I'm just going to walk through some of the fabrics that I've got here. I'm not going to remember everything, so if there's something that you see, just leave me a comment with the timestamp or maybe which block it was, and I'll do my best to dig out the name of the fabric if I can find it. So this was the very first block I made, and at the beginning I was quite overwhelmed in choosing fabrics or getting into a kind of rhythm. I really like this block though. I still think it came together quite nicely. This is one of my favourite fabrics. It came from a scrap from the sewing basket. So I can't tell you, I might have the selvage, I'm not sure, but I love it. The star points are Kathy Holden fabric. This little kitten here came from, I think, well, I picked it up from the side of the road. It was an old baby bassinet, and this fabric was on the mattress. And I walked past it several times, and I thought, if it's still there when I come home, I'm going to pick it up. So I brought it home and I soaked it, and this is the first kitten. And you'll see kittens and cats on all of the blocks. Another scrap, and when I say scrap, most of these will have come from the sewing basket. This one here, pretty sure is just from Spotlight, and this was a tray cloth, and I can't remember where I purchased that one from. The green is fabric that I've had kicking around for a long time, and the purple floral also came from Spotlight, I think. So that is number 1. Number 2, a bit more of the orange and blues. Let's start up the top. This is from the Milkwood collection, the birds on the flowers. More scraps. This blue floral is also from Milkwood. I think this yellow one also is, but could be another Lucello fabric. Again, let me know if you want details. The center star points. Oh, this is going to be terrible. I'm not going to remember anything. It's a fabric I've had for some years. This vintage floral here came from a bed sheet that I got from an op shop. This hexagon here, the outside I'm pretty sure is Milkwood, and the center here is just another scrap of fabric I found. Here are my kitties and puppies, and this one here, the blue and the apricot floral, is from Lucello. Pretty sure it's the Ruby's Coverlet range. And so that is block number 2. Number 3. I've got some really bright yellows throughout these blocks. I'm hoping that when it all sits together, you know, they talk nicely. We'll see. We'll see. More scraps from the sewing basket. This one here is Heather Ross from the By Hand collection. Froggy Florals, I think it is. This rose I'm pretty sure is a Liberty quilting cotton. This, I don't know what type of fabric this is. It's a really open weave and it's quite firm. It probably shouldn't be in the quilt in terms of the feel of it, but it is really beautiful. I'm pretty sure I got it from the purveyor of Reclaimed Textiles some time ago. It's my center star points. I think this blue floral is a Japanese fabric and quite possibly from Spotlight. You'll see I've repeated some of the fabrics throughout the blocks. Here's the one from Ruby's Coverlet. And this is my kitty, which came from a quilt block, which probably isn't all that old. I'm thinking maybe 80s or 90s. Again, I think I got this from Instagram, vintage so-and-so, I'm going to say. Very cute. The cat is actually reaching for a ball, but I think it fit nicely on this hexagon here. Number 3. So, what are we up to? Number 4. Here is a very nice one. What have we got? Some more fabrics here. I'm pretty sure, again, this is a Lucello fabric. This one here is Kathy Holden. Here is a very sweet kitty, which I'm pretty sure is Michael Miller fabric. This is quite an old piece. I got it from the first D-stash market that I went to, not this year but last year. I'm pretty sure I might have gone through it in a previous haul video. I had a handful of scraps for $1 and that one was in it. This I've had for a very long time, maybe early 2000s. This again I think came from the purveyor, a scrap of tablecloth. This is a very sweet fabric which I hunted down from a quilt store in South Australia, I think, after seeing it on Susanna's channel because I loved it so much. Susanna of Vintage Blend Studio. And another one which I think came from the purveyor, as did this one, which is one of my favorite floral prints. Actually, that goes this way. Here we've got some deeper blues. Lovely daisies. This is just an old placemat, I'm going to think. I only had a scrap of it and it fit nicely in this section here. The middle star points, the green is from Milkwood and the center star points are another scrap from the sewing basket. Some more scraps. This one again is from the sewing basket on one of my more recent trips. After I had started making these blocks, I was looking for some larger floral prints, which I don't have a lot of. You'll notice all of mine are ditzy florals. And And this gorgeous kitty, which is Japanese K fabrics, which I got from Beck at Seaville, and I love, 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 love this one. This one, I'm not sure if I'm overjoyed with the way that this one turned out. For me, I think it might be a bit muddy. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is what we've got. Love this green and orange floral. I'm pretty sure this one came from Seaville as well. Just another scrap of a doily. Let me see if I can pull this out properly. This one here is actually a doily, but it's the back side because the front is actually really faded, and I thought it looked much nicer and worked better with the other fabrics if I showed the wrong side. So that's what I've done. This one here is a very special fabric. Was bed sheets from my nana. Oops, sorry. So I've actually put some interfacing on this one because it was actually quite thin. Some more florals. The little kitties in a basket here came from a cot sheet, which I got from the op shop. The florals are from the Milkwood. I love this, really love this one. And this is also a very special piece, which again came from my nana. She wasn't a big sewer, but she did a lot of her own crafts and knitting and sewing. This was on the base of a bed doll. So she used to have these bed dolls on her bed for as long as I can remember. And this was the fabric that actually held the stuffing in which the bed doll would sit in. So I took out the stuffing because it was really old and a bit musty, and I washed that. And to be honest, this is the only piece of fabric that made me cry when I cut it up. But I'm really happy that I have a piece of that and, you know, the bed sheet as well in this block. So even though I'm not sure the colours work, this is a very special one for me. Similarly, not my favourite, but some very nice pieces in here. This is one of my very favourite fabrics, which I bought years and years ago, and I had the foresight to buy, 3 or 4 meters of it, and I'm pretty sure it just came from Spotlight, but I love this one. Some more, I'm going to say Milkwood. The star points are Heather Ross, the Mousy Floral. This is another one that came from Spotlight. And for those watching who are not in Australia, Spotlight is a very large chain store similar to the Joanne Michaels, I'm thinking, in the US. And here is the kitty from this one. I'm sure the range is Vintage Dame. And here is a piece, vintage fabric. To be honest, I'm not sure what it might have been used for. It's quite an open weave. Might have been curtains, maybe. I think I got this one from Marketplace. And I love this hexagon here. It's another piece of that doily. And this is, I'm pretty sure the range is called Apple Butter. Very sweet. I really love this one. So I've no idea what number we're up to. This is one of my favorites. I love this green with the floral, sorry, with the daisies. This one came from Flower Child Quilts, Sue, who designed this, the quilt, who designed the Gosling Quilt. I think it's an old bed sheet. This is Lucello, more scraps, and my very favourite kitties, oops, which is Heather Ross, and I'm pretty sure this one's called Barn Kitties, and I just love them, a little pile of them, so cute. And another doily in the centre here. And this lovely piece came from Beck while I was at the Fleur Woods course at her old store in Newcastle last year. And I really love this. Beautiful. Oh, a little bit different here. More pinks and blues. Hopefully you can see that. Here's a doily that was quite stained and wasn't very expensive, and I managed to salvage the part that didn't have any stains for this section. There's some more of that apricot floral that I love. The star points. This one came from the sewing basket and it was already pieced together. It was a quilt top and I bought it for just this fabric alone because I loved it. And here are the kitties. Again, this one came from Spotlight. Some more scraps. I love this one. Pretty sure that came from the sewing basket. And this was from a pillowcase, and again came from the side of the road. Someone had dumped a whole bunch of clothing and textiles, and I pulled out a couple of pieces, took them home and soaked them, and I love it. Beautiful. And this one is from Milkwood. So very cute block. Okay, some apricots and purples. Pretty sure this is from Ruby's Coverlet from Lucello. And this is an old doily that just happened to fit very nicely in the hexagon. Another scrap from the sewing basket, and I love this buttery yellow brown floral. This is another Lucello fabric. This one here is a Liberty quilting cotton. Here is some more of that vintage sheet that came from the op shop, and this really lovely floral came from a vintage children's cot sheet from the sewing basket, and I probably paid more than I wanted to, but I only wanted these flowers, and the rest of the fabric I'm pretty sure has giraffes on it. So I'll try and find something to do with the rest of that fabric because it's a shame for it to go to waste, but I just love these florals. And here is my kitty, which is printed fabric from eBay because I went on a bit of a a shopping spree looking for more cats to add to my blocks. When I saw the listing, the fabric was a bit darker than what it is. It's looking a bit more washed out. She actually gave me quite a good price for it, so I'm not so mad about that, but it's a very sweet little kitty. I think we might be halfway through. I'm not sure what number we're up to here. Here we've got, this is more Kathy Holden fabric. Sweet little kitties from Judy. Hello, Judy. This one, more scraps. This is possibly a Liberty. And this, I can't remember where I got this from, but is one of my very favourites. Okay, over here we've got some more Liberty. This is another scrap from the sewing basket. Here are some very lovely fabrics that I got from Seaville. These ones here. Pretty sure this one came from Marketplace. Here's Lucello. Some more scraps. And this piece came from another vintage tablecloth that I got from the op shop, which was actually a good price because it had a very big stain in the middle of it, which I managed to soak out, so that worked out well for me. Here is another one that I really like. Well, I like all of them. I do. I really love the center of this one. Pretty sure the middle one is Milkwood. And pretty sure this one here came from Sue. The pink is Liberty. And this other floral came from Spotlight. This one, again, I think was a scrap from the sewing basket that I've had for a very long time and I really love. This one here came from a pillowcase that I bought from the most recent vintage, sorry, the D-Stash market, the last one that I went to this year. This also came from that same D-Stash market, and I was actually looking at buying this online from eBay, and a lady actually happened to have a couple of meters of it for a very good price, so it must have been there waiting for me. The yellow floral also came from the same D-Stash market, and I'm pretty sure this one also came from Sue. I think this might be a Laura Ashley print, which I got from an op shop some time ago. And this piece here came from the same D-Stash market. I'm pretty sure it came from Melanie's stall, a purveyor of reclaimed textiles. So this is a very nice one. And one of the nice details I like about this, which I'm pretty sure I've possibly shown before, is that when you turn that over, you have this really lovely detail of the pattern coming through in the middle, which I love. Okay, actually, I'll leave that so you can have a look at the whole thing. Okay, what have we got? More barn kitties from Heather Ross. More Lucello. And Lucello had this for ages. Pretty sure this is Kathy Holden. It's a lovely Liberty. More scraps. This one came from the first de-stash market in that handful of scraps that I bought. This one's from the sewing basket. This one, where did I get this? Oh, the star points in the middle are actually flannelette sheets, and I used to have them on my bed when I was a teenager. This is Kathy Holden. Another lovely scrap from the sewing basket. As are these, I think. Cute. So this one has some red in it, and I'm not sure if red was the best choice, but I loved the cats, and so I decided to put them in it. And this was a very tiny scrap that came from the de-stash market with little Valentine's cats. What have we got? This piece here came from that same handful of textiles that I picked up from the side of the road. It was a pillowcase. In the centre here is the only one where I've made the star points from two different fabrics, and I've alternated them. I think I mentioned previously that I would have loved to have chosen different fabrics for each of these star points as Sue did in her original design, but I was so overwhelmed with choosing the rest of the fabrics that I gave my brain a rest and just chose the one, except for this. Got another doily here. Pretty sure this came from So Be. This one's a Liberty. Here is another scrap of tablecloth, which came from Vintage So and So from Kate. This centerpiece, pretty sure came from So Be. Maybe, I can't remember, to be honest. And this one is another scrap from the sewing basket. This one definitely came from So Be, Japanese fabric, I think, which I love, love, love. Beautiful. Okay, we're coming to the final few. More bright yellow. Looking at this, I'm not sure if that was the right choice, but I'm going to stick with it because I'm not going to undo it. Let's start from down here. Can't remember what this is. It's just printed on here, maybe a doily or something like that. Pretty sure. Is this a Liberty? Can't remember. This is, I think it might have been, sorry, this definitely came from that de-stash market. And it's a vintage fabric, and I'm pretty sure it has inspired new reproduction feed sack style prints, because I see this cat in quite a few other patterns. And I think I've got something here coming up. So, sorry, I'm going all over the place. More scraps. This one is Heather Ross, that froggy florals. Actually, I'm not sure if that's the right name for that design, but that's what I'm calling it. So I haven't featured any of the frogs in any of my blogs, but that's from the same one. This one is a Liberty. This one came from Sue. This is a newer one. I want to say Riley Blake or something like that, one of those newer reproduction feed sack type designs. This in the centre is from that piece of fabric, sorry, well, they're all fabric, from that vintage piece that I got from Marketplace. And around it is one of the Liberty anniversary prints with all the little sewing notions in there, which I love. Again, not sure about the colours in this one, bit farmhousey, but I'm hoping it's going to look good when all the blocks are sewn together. This might be my absolute favourite. Pink and brown, can't go wrong. Really lovely, love this one here. This is a new fabric, whoa, sorry. It's very lovely. Some more scraps. Here is some more of that K Textiles fabric in the pink colorway. And you know what? I'm really tempted to buy the blue as well and go back and buy more of the green because I love them. This is a very lovely combination. Pretty sure these came from the sewing basket. And this is another scrap from a tablecloth. Okay, 2 more to go. Well, we've been here for some time. Okay, what have we got? Vintage sheet that came from an op shop when they were still $5 to buy, which is unheard of now. The blue is Milkwood. Pretty sure the green is a Liberty. There's the birds from Milkwood again. This might also be a sheet. Can't remember where that came from. It's a little bit of Liberty up the top. Some lovely, this is an old, I got this recently from Lucella when they were selling some vintage slow stitching packs, which might be a feed sack fabric. I'm not sure. To be honest, I can't really tell. I haven't come across enough original feed sack to let you know, or, you know, to be confident that I know what I'm looking at. And here is my kitty, which is a bit, 90s, I think, which came from the sewing basket. And here's some more of that pillowcase. And when I mentioned that blue fabric with the cats, I think it inspired this one here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm pretty sure it's the same style. And lucky last. Now, this one is quite different again, much lower volume, except for this, which is a bit weird, but is going to stay. So, what have we got? More scraps that came from the sewing basket, including this one, which is a bit thin, but hopefully when I put the backing on it'll be okay. More scraps that I've had sitting around for some time. The centre star points here came from, let me think, an op shop in Melbourne when I was there recently. Pretty sure this also came from a recent trip to the sewing basket. So a lot of my stash has come from there. They have a great range of fat quarters for $2 in all different kinds of colorways and patterns. This also came from the same op shop trip in Melbourne. And this was a recent purchase. I'm pretty sure this is also K Textiles from Japan, and is a very sweet kitty in a basket. So that's the last block, number 18. Okay, I'm going to show you very quickly my points. So I didn't choose the colour of my connecting star points before I started making all the blocks, and it took me a very long time to decide what to do. But I ended up going with Heather Ross, Mousy Floral in Emerald. And this is a Prima fabric, the green solid, which came from Spotlight because I took a very long time to find another colour that I thought would sit nicely with it. So I have finished all but one of my star points here. I've got all of my half ones ready to go. And I only have to make one more of these, and then I've done everything, and I can start laying out the large blocks and deciding where they're going to sit in the quilt. Now, one thing I'm also going to tell you is, before I decided to go with this green, I thought I'd be very clever and make all different kinds of combinations to sit in between the big blocks, because I was having so much fun pairing the fabrics together. And I made a whole heap of these until I sat them next to each other. I laid it out and it looked a mess. It was just too much. There was not enough definition between the blocks and the points. Here's another very sweet kitty fabric that came from Judy, and I really wanted to use this in my quilt. But I'm going to have to use them somewhere else. So you can see I spent a lot of time putting all of these together, and that delayed me because I said, I set a self-imposed deadline of June 30 to have all of these pieces done, and I've obviously gone past that, but I'm not bothered. So what do you think I'm going to do with these? Maybe make another quilt, use them somewhere else. I don't know. I love this one. I love this blue fabric. Beautiful. Here's some more of those vintage Dame kitties. And for a while I thought that this might be my star points, but it's too dark. And I'm much happier with this one here. Oh, and if you haven't fallen asleep yet, I'm going to show you, I forgot, I've also got these ones here. So I have to make 4 of these half hexies to go along the edge of the quilt. And very quickly, this is the Liberty quilting cotton. These are still some of the fabrics, most of these fabrics have been used elsewhere in the quilt. There's that Heather Ross. There's some more of that fabric that came from the D-Stash market. This one I bought, quite some time ago. I can't remember what it's called, but I really love the print on this. Beautiful. Here is another one. Scrap from the sewing basket. Some more from that pillowcase. This one is Hello Kitty, which, to be honest, I'm not, a huge fan of Hello Kitty. I think she's cute, but not really on my radar. I have this here because I was teaching my niece how to sew, how to use a sewing machine, and she made a cushion out of this fabric. So I really wanted to have a piece here, and I think it's lovely. Some more Lucello, and again have had this sitting around for a very long time. Okay, 2 more. Pretty sure this one came from Spotlight as well. Might be familiar to some of you. Another scrap from the sewing basket. Another very sweet kitty from Judy. This is a Natalie Lett design. And some more scraps. This, I really love this one, which I'm sorry the sunlight is being a problem. And the last one is this one here. This, what have we got? Just some more scraps up the top here. This one came from a very old quilt block that I got from the D-Stash Market from Melanie's stall. Some more of that kitty fabric from Spotlight. Not sure about this one. I think the colour is a bit off. It's going to be at the edge of the quilt, so I think I might just live with it. And this one here, I've used a different fabric here because I was lazy. So that is it. 18 of these large blocks done. 4 of the half hexies done. I think I've got 34 of these star points in total, and I think 12 of these half ones. And so that is it. We'll come back maybe and show you the finished quilt or something in between. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm going to put all of this together, and then I have the joy of learning how to hand quilt. So that will be another journey. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you're still here, I really appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed having a look at some of the fabrics I've used in my Gosling quilt. I'll see you next time. Bye.